Hey there, CJ Math students, and welcome to Homework 1.8, Converting Between Fractions and Decimals. And this is a practice kind of going off exactly what we did in class today. So it says write each as a decimal. Use repeating decimals when necessary. So I'm going to do a problem like number 1 for you. Remember, you want to do the denominator 3 into the numerator. So I just drew an arrow, so you should also draw that arrow, right? Now 3 can't go into 2, so I say decimal, decimal, 0. 3 goes into 20 6 times. That's 18. 2 left over, right? I would have to borrow from here. That's really, 10 minus 8, right? Add another 0, bring it on down. 3 goes into 20 6 times. Again, that's 18. 20 minus 18 again is 2. Another 0, bring it on down. I want you to go all the way to the thousands place before you recognize, okay, it's a repeating decimal. So 0.666 would go on forever. 666 would go on forever. So which one looks like that? Not 0.06, obviously not 2.3 or 230. It's obviously 0.6, right? Notice 2.3 and 230, those are put there in case you don't want to do the math and you just say, oh, it must be a 2 and a 3 in the answer. Okay. All right. 3/4. So again, you take the denominator and you divide it into the numerator. Decimal, decimal, 0. Right? 4 into 30 goes in there 7 times. That's 28 with 2 left over. Bring a 0 all the way down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. And since I have nothing left over, now I'm done. 0.75, 0.75. 9 and 1/4, right? Notice 9 is going to be your whole number. So we can just go ahead and try and get the fraction part. So 4 goes into 1. Decimal, decimal, 0. 4 goes into 10 twice. That gives you 8 left over. Excuse me, not 18. 8 left over. 10 minus 8 is 2. Bring a 0 and bring it on down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. So don't forget your 9. Your answer here is 9.25, right? So A, right? Not 92.5, not 9.33, not 9.28. 1 7/8, right? So remember, you're going to have a whole number. You're going to bring your 8 over, and you're going to say, okay, how many times does 8 go into 7? Decimal, decimal, 0. 8 goes into 70 8 times. That's 64. Bring 70 minus 64 is 6. Put a 0, bring it on down. 8 goes into 67 times. That's 56. I'm using my reference sheet here. I'm just looking at my 8s all the way up until I get to a number that's smaller, and then I'm picking the number that's a little bit less than that. So that's 4 left over. Another 0, bring it on down. Oops, bring it all the way down. 8 goes into 40 5 times, and that actually stops us right there. So 0.875 is your fraction part, but remember your whole number, 1.875. All right, so B is your answer. 4 2/3. I'll give you a little bit dispensation here. You just did 2/3 up top, so you can say, hey, I know it's 0.666 repeated, and up, I know I have my whole number there, so I'm going to end up with something like 4.666 repeated. I won't make you do the division on this one. And 0.666 repeated is the same thing as just 0.6 repeated, right? So A is your answer. And now for the even ones, if you haven't already paused the video, I would pause it and show your work just like I've shown mine. All right, on to number 11. Write each as a fraction. Remember, all we're going to do here is label the place value. So this is the tenths place value, hence 4 over 10. And then we will divide by 2. You're showing all the work just like I am, and that gives you 2 over 5. So C, right? This is in the hundredths place value, so this one's actually going to be a little bit easier. Excuse me, hundredths. It's 13 over 100, and you cannot simplify that, so B is your answer on that one. Look at that. Gave you an even problem. Number 13. The 4 is in the hundredths place value. So you're going to have 44 over 100. I can divide both those by 4. and I get 11 over 25. Don't forget your whole number, so it's 3 and 11 over 25, and it's A. Number 15, 25 is in the, again, hundredths place value. So it's 25 over 100. You can obviously divide both those by 25. That gives you 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 is 4. Again, don't forget your whole number. 8 and 1/4. B. Number 17. 95 is in the hundredths. So it's 95 over 100. You can divide both these by 5. And you get 19 over 20. Don't forget your whole number. It's 3 and 19 over 20. So D. Okay. And then the repeated decimal ones, these ones you just have to memorize, right? So your 0.3333 is just 1/3. 0.66666 is 2/3. Just gotta memorize those two. So this is 1/3 and this is 2/3, right? Lastly, boys and girls. There were 6 girls and 18 boys in Miss Johnson's math class. Write the number of girls as a fraction of the number of boys. Then write the fraction as a repeating decimal. So there were 6 girls to 18 boys. We can divide both of those by 6. And what do we get? We get 1/3. Again, you just got to memorize that one. It's 0.333 repeated. Right? And the last one, in Italy, 74 out of 100 people use cellular phones. Write the fraction of cellular phone users in Italy. Then write the fraction as a decimal. So 74 out of 100. We can simplify this, or we can just say, hey, it's base 10. Like, hello, when it's base 10, I don't have to simplify anything. I can just literally read it as it is. That's 0.74. You should be overjoyed when you see base 10, as in 10, 100, or 1,000, because then you can just read the numerator and say, oh, that's the decimal. All right, call me if you have questions.